Hello everyone. Welcome to my YNR 24 spoilers. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Christine's party crashed, Holden watched, and Tessa kissed him. According to Spoilers for the Young and the Restless, a teaser clip for the week of October 20th, 2025 has been made public. Tessa Porter is seen kissing Daniel Jr. Holden Novak is watched by Kyle Abbott. In addition, Phyllis Summers interrupts the bachelorette party of Christine Blair. Let's discuss the upcoming events in the CBS soap opera as you continue reading. Holden Novak's conversation. Let's begin at the opening of the promo video. First, we see Holden seated next to a long-haired woman who may be Sienna Bacall. They are in plain sight at the hotel, seated at a table. Kyle observes the scene from a distance. Kyle Abbott prompts. Claire Grace Newman approaches Kyle from behind while Holden is in his meeting. The blonde insists on knowing Kyle's activities. The young man then states, "What Holden is doing is the most relevant question. And with whom is he doing it?" Kyle is acting in a really absurd and stalker-like manner. How many times must Claire reiterate that she has no relationship with Holden and that it doesn't matter who he speaks to? The party of Christine Blair was a bust. The preview footage also depicts Christine hosting her celebration, which is most likely a bachelorette party, according to Young and the Restless spoilers for the week of October 20th. The blonde and her closest pals are having a blast while decked out. Phyllis cuts in at that point. "So sweet, not a dry eye in the house," exclaims the redhead. Naturally, Christine and everyone else are curious as to why Phyllis is there. The redhead chooses to attend her rival's party rather than go. Isn't Phyllis getting a little elderly for this kind of behavior? Get a life, lady, please. The kiss of Tessa Porter. Tessa stumbles as she ascends the stairs of a motel. After that terrible encounter with Mariah Copeland, it appears that she may have drowned her sorrows. Daniel catches the brunette as she begins to fall. After giving him a longing glance, Tessa gives him a passionate kiss. Daniel may be surprised to learn that he feels anything for her. However, would he only serve as a rebound? To discover out, we'll have to continue to observe. Does Tessa and Daniel's intoxicated kiss develop into a seductive moment? According to Spoilers on the Young and the Restless, Tessa Porter and Daniel will kiss while intoxicated during the week of October 20th to 24th. However, will a lip lock develop into more? Sparks are flying. A very inebriated Tessa is shown being assisted by Daniel up to the GCAC steps in the Young and the Restless preview for the week of October 20th to 24th. When Tessa kisses her best friend, it appears as though they are on their way to a hotel room. He gives her a startled expression. Will they do anything else? Fans are aware that Daniel has confessed his affections for Tessa to both Danny and his parents, Phyllis Summers. It will be a dream come true for Tessa to kiss Daniel. But since Tessa is drunk, Daniel might stop this from happening. Although he could want to do more, Daniel probably won't because it's unknown if he's as inebriated as Tessa. Daniel cares for Tessa and is aware that she is still in love with her wife, Mariah Copeland, in addition to respecting her and not wanting to take advantage of her. What if? However, if Daniel is also intoxicated, he might let his feelings run wild and the two might breach a line. In the event that Daniel and Tessa were to have an affair, things might become quite problematic. In addition to the fact that she is married and they are friends, Daniel has genuine affections for Tessa. Therefore, carrying out the action would further complicate this already difficult scenario. However, it would also provide some good drama, and Tessa might discover during the bedroom session that she feels more than just friendliness for Daniel. During the week of October 20th to 24th, will Daniel and Tessa engage in activities beyond simple kissing? Leave a comment below. 1. Setting the scene. The unsettling week in Genoa City. In the Young and the Restless, the week of October 20th, 2025 represents one of the infrequent points in the story where all of Genoa City's emotional threads appear to converge. Three separate but thematically related incidents are introduced in the preview clip. Christine's party crashed, Holden being watched, and Tessa's kiss. A common feature that unites these seemingly disparate occurrences is emotional strain and a blurring of moral boundaries. Overlapping arcs are the lifeblood of the CBS soap opera, and this week is no exception. The show's ongoing interest with human fragility is highlighted by the contrast between inebriated love, silent monitoring, and direct confrontation. This week is all about stepping over boundaries, whether they be personal, ethical, or emotional, and the mayhem that results when desire and resentment collide. 2. The silence before the storm. Holden Novak's conversation. Holden Novak and a woman who looks to be Sienna Bacall are seated at a public table in the preview's opening scene. Filmed in a busy environment where there is a lot of stress that is not expressed, the scenario is purposefully ambiguous. Secrecy and speculation are established right away by the framing. The same type of public privacy that soap operas so effectively exploit to fuel suspicion and rumors. Kyle Abbott's worries. Kyle Abbott enters, observing from afar. His eyes reveal a mixture of protectiveness, curiosity, and jealousy. He believes something covert is happening and is attempting to figure out Holden's motivations. Ironically, his own actions, stalking from a distance, are what will ultimately cause him to experience emotional difficulties. The tension is broken by Claire Grace Newman's, Haley Aaron, frustration as she confronts Kyle, asking, "What are you doing, Kyle?" In response, he said, "What Holden is doing is the most crucial question. And with whom is he doing it?" Sums up his developing paranoia. The idea of projection is encapsulated in this instance, as Kyle's compulsive viewing serves as a mirror of his own fears. By closely examining Holden, he externalizes his inner doubts rather of facing them. In this case, Kyle's voyeurism is both physical and symbolic, as surveillance is frequently used in soap operas as a metaphor for emotional avoidance. The secret meeting with Holden. But Holden's actions are as complex. His choice to meet Sienna in public rather than behind closed doors conveys confidence or even a conscious effort to stand out. Both Kyle and the audience appear to be teased by the writers. Is Kyle fabricating drama, or is Holden concealing something? Perhaps the truth is somewhere in the middle. Holden's composed manner stands in stark contrast to Kyle's restlessness, and Sienna's return portends possible unrest. In Genoa City, business contacts frequently result in romantic entanglements or covert alliances, yet their hushed talk could just as easily be business. 3. Kyle Abbott initiates, concern, or obsession. Kyle's behavior this week represents a return to previous patterns. He was once the Abbott heir, ambitious but sensible, but now he verges on obsession. His obsession with Holden suggests deeper issues, and his relationship with Claire has been characterized by miscommunication and mistrust. A control pattern. A persistent weakness in Kyle's personality is his urge to know and see. The Abbott streak of entitlement, which holds that he must exert control over circumstances in order to avert disaster, has been passed down to him. Ironically, chaos is always the result of this quest for control. His stalking of Holden is reminiscent of other instances in which Kyle lacked confidence in Summer or Claire to make their own decisions. Claire's annoyance. The scene's pivotal moment is Claire's response. Her abrasive and exhausted tone indicates that Kyle has violated boundaries before. "How many times do I have to say, 'I'm not doing anything with Holden'?" she asked rhetorically. It emphasizes how recurring this pattern has gotten. Kyle may be emotionally immature if he can't let go. The authors deftly cast Kyle as the personification of possessive anxiety and Claire as the voice of reason. Themes of projection and paranoia. One of the main themes of this week's arc, watching, is reflected in Kyle's actions. Every plot point is defined by an act of intrusion, from Holden being watched to Phyllis interrupting Christine's celebration. Each character is unable to respect boundaries and enters another person's emotional space. Although Kyle's invasion is emotional rather than physical, the repercussions could be just as harmful. 4. Phyllis attacks again after Christine Blair's party is dismantled. We move from silent observation to a boisterous confrontation in the following scene. Christine Blair is having a bachelorette party with her friends, looking radiant as she celebrates her impending nuptials. There's a lot of laughter and nostalgia in the air. Then, just as the music is starting to fade, a well-known voice can be heard. Michelle Stafford's character, Phyllis Summers, who always manages to ruin a party. The eternal wild card is Phyllis. Phyllis is an intriguing example of a contradictory character. She is both a hero and a villain in equal measure since she is intelligent, passionately independent, and constantly self-destructive. "So sweet, not a dry eye in the house," she said as she entered. It is brimming with irony. The tone of the room is immediately altered by the statement, which is delivered with Michelle Stafford's trademark blend of humor and venom. This is a declaration rather than merely an interruption. Years of antagonism and unresolved hostility are symbolized by Phyllis's very attendance at Christine's party. Jealousy, professional rivalry, and romantic meddling have always plagued their relationship, particularly with regard to Danny. The competition was rekindled. Soap folklore surrounds the Phyllis-Christine feud. Their narratives, which have frequently reflected one another's paths, two women navigating ambition, love, and treachery in a world that throws them against one another, have included courtroom confrontations and romantic triangles. Phyllis is effectively regaining attention that she feels deprived by showing up for Christine's bachelorette celebration. She reasserts significance by putting herself in Christine's happy moment, which is a psychological power play. It's painfully immature, though. Phyllis is too elderly and too intelligent for these shenanigans, which frustrates both the audience and the in-show characters. She is predictable and dangerous, but part of what makes her interesting is her unwillingness to change. Significance of the crash. The entrance by Phyllis is thematically similar to Tessa's impetuous kiss and Kyle's observation. Every action crosses a line. Tessa invades moral territory, Kyle invades emotional space, and Phyllis invades a private celebration. These plots together examine the repercussions of behaving without self-control. 5. The kiss of Tessa Porter, the instant that transforms everything. Unquestionably, Tessa Porter and Daniel are the week's emotional focal point. Kissing when intoxicated. This moment is strong because of all that precedes it, including the loneliness, vulnerability, and long-simmering affection. The development of emotions. Though recent episodes have alluded to distance, Tessa and Mariah Copeland's marriage has been one of Genoa City's more stable partnerships. Their relationship has deteriorated due to personal anxieties, communication breakdowns, and career difficulties. In addition to being a sign of bodily imbalance, Tessa's stumble up the hotel stairs also represents emotional bewilderment. The woman who was once a symbol of love and artistic freedom is now lost. Daniel's catch of her stumble serves as a metaphor for her current situation. She's falling, and someone else, not Mariah, saves her. Daniel's response. Daniel's expression conveys conflict. A split-second choice that could change both of their lives is the result of shock, bewilderment, and temptation. As fans already know, Daniel has confessed to both of his parents, Danny and Phyllis, that he has had affections for Tessa for a long time. Fantasy and reality collide when Tessa gives him a kiss. For Daniel, this is the realization of a long-envisioned moment. However, everything is made more difficult by the knowledge that Tessa is intoxicated. Even while his gut tells him to quit, his feelings and possibly loneliness could cloud that judgment. 6. From friendship to temptation, sparks fly. The character of their relationship. A strong bond based on empathy and artistic kinship unites Tessa and Daniel. Tessa's singing and Daniel's design and reflection are two distinct forms of artistic expression. There has always been a sense of closeness between them in their chats, the kind that arises when two people are aware of each other's pain. That's why the kiss is so important. It is a breach in the emotional barrier, not a haphazard act of passion. Alcohol only makes it easier. Years of repressed emotion and unfulfilled desire are revealed, a dilemma and a dream. The kiss is both thrilling and disturbing for Daniel. In the worst conceivable situation, it's what he secretly desired. According to the preview, Daniel might not be as inebriated as Tessa, which presents moral dilemmas. The authors are ready to put Daniel's moral character to the test. Will he back off or let passion rule him? Daniel has a history of moral lapses, as fans of the young and the restless are aware. Although he is capable of acting morally, he is nevertheless a human being and is prone to frailty when his emotions are running high. His connection with his parents, who already have ideas about his affections for Tessa, as well as his friendship with her, could suffer greatly if he caves in. 7. Repercussions and difficulties. If they go too far, Genoa City will be affected if the kiss develops into something more, such as a one-night encounter or a full-fledged affair. The biggest test yet would be placed on Tessa and Mariah's marriage. From envy to professional obstacles, their partnership has triumphed over insurmountable obstacles, but adultery might destroy that trust. Daniel would be guilty of both betraying a friend and exploiting a vulnerable moment. There are a lot of story possibilities here, including self-loathing, secrecy, and unintentional discovery. This plotline has all the makings of a long-term drama, and soap operas thrive on the fallout from moral failings. If they don't, Daniel's resistance, however, has the potential to increase his emotional depth and raise him morally. An even more moving arc would be set up by a restrained Daniel, who is plagued by what might have been. When Tessa wakes up the following day with fragmentary recollections, she may experience both uncertainty and shame. This uncertainty might reshape her marriage and make her face her feelings for Daniel. 8. Thematic similarities, impulse, and intrusion. The invasion of borders unites the three storylines: Holden's encounter, Christine's party, and Tessa's kiss. Holden's privacy is violated by Kyle. Christine's jubilation is interrupted by Phyllis. Tessa violates the integrity of the marriage. Every incursion is motivated by emotion rather than reason, whether it is loneliness, hatred, or jealousy. The show can examine how emotional impulsivity may destroy even the strongest individuals, because to this thematic structure, which also offers the week's narrative coherence. Additionally, there is a spectator in all three: Daniel watching Tessa stumble, Christine's friends watching Phyllis's breakdown, and Kyle watching Holden. The assumption that no one can stay a passive observer for very long in Genoa City is reinforced by the fact that every moment of observation transforms into engagement. 9. Character analysis. Tessa Porter, the artist who is fragile. This week's tale from Tessa is one of emotional weariness. She is torn between marital stress and career disappointment. Her inebriation serves as a metaphor for her inner turmoil, a woman attempting to numb emotions she is unable to express. The kiss is an act of escape as much as desire. Tessa briefly ceases to be the ideal spouse, the mature, responsible adult, and the public figure. She turns into an impetuous, imperfect, and desiring human. Daniel Jr., the complicated companion. This week, Daniel's storyline focuses on self-control. His task is moral rather than external. Now, the man who battled impulsivity must decide whether to follow his friendship or act out of love. His decision to lean in or pull back will determine how he sees himself as well as how he interacts with Tessa. He becomes the man he desires if he doesn't resist. He turns into the man he fears he still is if he doesn't. Phyllis Summers, the everlasting upstart. As a reminder that experience and time do not always equate to wisdom, Phyllis continues to be the cause of mayhem. Her interruption of Christine's gathering is quintessential Phyllis, emotional manipulation masquerading as conflict. Beneath the showmanship, however, is a lady who detests being unimportant. Her actions reveal a profound loneliness concealed by bluster. Christine Blair, the elegant aspirant. Phyllis's erratic behavior contrasts with Christine's calm and forbearance. Her fortitude is demonstrated by her choice to throw a happy feminine party. Her nemesis's incursion, however, puts her back in the defensive position she has been attempting to avoid for years. The Watchers are Holden Novak and Kyle Abbott. Their subplot gives the week a sense of distrust and monitoring. Holden's ambiguity leaves viewers guessing, while Kyle's voyeurism reveals his fear of losing control. The reality regarding their motivations will probably be more nuanced than anyone anticipates, in typical soap opera form. 10. Narrative forecasts and consequences. It appears that the week of October 20th to 24th is intended to set up long-term effects. The kiss between Tessa and Daniel might cause emotional ramifications that lasts until the November sweeps. Phyllis's interference could make her connection with Danny more difficult and rekindle her rivalry with Christine. Kyle's paranoia might erode his confidence in Claire and make Holden appear like a real danger or a misunderstood hero. Together, these themes imply that the young and the restless is about to embark on a new cycle of interpersonal turmoil based on human frailties like loneliness, desire, and jealousy rather than villains and plots. 11. More general themes and symbols. 3 phrases connected by action and consequence make up the intentional structure of the episode title. Tessa's kiss, Holden watched. Christine's party crashed. There is an intrusive verb in each section. A kiss is an emotional intrusion. Visual encroachment was observed. Social invasion crashed. Together, they capture the essence of the week. Emotions released, secrets revealed, and boundaries violated. Not to be overlooked is the stacking of generations. While the older generation revisits past traumas, the younger characters act out emotional perplexity. This contrast highlights YNR's timeless strength, which is its capacity to demonstrate that human fragility is ageless. 12. The Anatomy of a Scandal. Conclusion. Genoa City is in shock at the end of this crazy week. One key lesson emerges from a kiss that shouldn't have occurred, a party that ought to have been private, and a covert meeting that ought to have been disregarded. In the world of the young and the restless, every emotional impulse has repercussions. This arc's writing, directing, and acting all follow the show's well-known formula. Minor decisions with significant repercussions. The same human truth, that the heart seldom pays attention to reason, is reflected in Tessa's inebriated kiss, Phyllis's intrusion, and Kyle's skepticism. One thing is for sure. When the credits roll on October 24th, the people of Genoa City will awaken to a completely different emotional landscape than what they began with. The Young and the Restless continues to captivate audiences with its messy, passionate, and delectable drama.